In this video, we will briefly look at the general requirements of the outline and explain 10-mark question for A-Level Sociology before looking at a specific response from families and households. To recap, the outline looks like the first picture and the explain the second. These are the general rules. You might want to press pause to remind yourself of these if necessary before we look at these applied to a specific question. Let's start with this question. Outline and explain 2 ways that social change may affect patterns of marriage, and that was worth 10 marks based on a question from the 2023 exam paper 2. For these 10-mark questions, try to break down the different parts of the question. In this case, the first part is to identify the social change. And the second part is to think about the patterns of marriage. When discussing a pattern, think about what is happening to the number of marriages and when or how people get married, if they choose to do so at all, that is. A useful starting point for these questions is to be aware of what the statistics tell us. You don't need to memorise the exact numbers, but you do need to be aware of the general pattern or trend, because you might get a question on any of the demographic trends on the specification. Therefore, it is vital that you're familiar with all of them. Here, the Office for National Statistics tells us that even before the COVID effect of 2020, the number of marriages was going down, and the age at which people are getting married is increasing. Your first task, therefore, is to think about the social change, and then link this to the pattern of marriage that we previously discussed. Have a think about which 2 you would go for. I'm going to do a worked example, but you might want to pause the video now and have a go at writing your own first. I'm going to do this in the way that the notional student might do. This is my opening sentence to my first paragraph. Having done this, I now need to spend the rest of the paragraph developing this specific point in relation to the question asked. Remember, this is way 1, and this must be developed in the rest of the paragraph. The next sentence explains the point, and here we see further development, and more here. The answer ends paragraph 1 with a clear link back to the question, with a clear reference from the social change to the pattern of marriage. That's my first paragraph done. I'm now going to go on to paragraph 2. Here, I'm again going with an opening sentence related to the question. As I did with paragraph 1, I need to spend the rest of the paragraph developing this point in relation to the question asked. As before, the point made in the opening sentence of the paragraph is explained. Note the definition of the concept is really useful here. Again, we see some further development via clear links back to what the question is asking you to do. Taken together, these 2 paragraphs represent the expectations of an A-Level Sociology response to a 10-mark question such as this under timed exam conditions. Going back to the general rules for this question and the general mark scheme, it would be fair to say that this answer would get into the top band, looking at around 8 or 9 out of 10. In the exam, please make sure that you are applying these general rules and procedures to your answers for these 10-mark questions.